For some people, marijuana isn't about getting high, it's about getting well. Those words from NBC correspondent Harry Smith. He's been talking with families of young children who suffer from debilitating seizures, and their hope comes from an oil extracted from marijuana. But realizing that hope means taking on a very challenging legal battle. Harry Smith joins us now with a preview of his story that you'll see Sunday on Dateline. Harry, thank you for talking with us. Harry, you talk with 3 different mothers. Fill us in a little bit on their stories.
Wow. There are different people in this country who have children with maladies that would confound us, any of us, and challenge us in ways that are just beyond our imaginations. And we meet these families who have children with really severe epilepsy disorders, with seizure disorders, kids who have almost constant seizures, if you can imagine. And what usually happens in this situation is you go through a regimen of drugs, and usually after the first 1 or 2 don't work, none of them are going to work. And what some folks have found in America is there's a strain of cannabis that is very high in something called cannabidiol that doesn't make you high, and very low in THC, that's the stuff that makes you high. This stuff doesn't make you high at all, but somehow has a really positive effect on these children. And these moms, all they're trying to do is make it legal for them to get a hold of this for their kids in the hopes that it can help them. And it is a dramatic story. What is your hope for medical marijuana?
To meet our daughter, to meet who she really is.
Now, we have seen more liberal states pass some laws permitting the use of this. After your research, are you imagining that more states will follow suit to help these families?
You know, they're looking for legislation that's very, very narrow. They're just asking for, let us have the window to have these very specific kinds of things, not medical marijuana, but these 2 very specific strains. And the folks at the Virginia legislature, when these moms showed up, said, it's not going to happen. The exact same thing happened at the Georgia legislature. And guess what? Both legislatures moved in ways that no one ever would have believed before. So it's once the evidence is presented, once these kids are rolled into these Senate hearing rooms and people see what they're really talking about, some dramatic changes can happen.
Now, there are many people who will view this with some skepticism because marijuana has been illegal for so very long in this country. Are there actual studies that show the efficacy of this oil, or are we relying on these families' anecdotal evidence?
Which is one of the great conundrums of all of this. There are so many catch-22s. Marijuana is a Schedule I drug. It's rated that way by the federal government, which means it's as dangerous as heroin and that it can't possibly have any medicinal uses. Well, people have been using different kinds of marijuana to help for cancer, for MS, for any number of things in a lot of different states for a number of years. So what the legislatures always say, well, show us the proof. Well, if it's a Schedule I drug, it's almost impossible to do research on. So there's a yin and a yang here, and one thing's going one way and the other thing's going the other way. And as this is being introduced into the culture, there's sort of a lot of catching up to do. One of the things we talk about, there are people saying, we need to reschedule this drug, if for no other reason, to make it easier to do research on so we can find out if it really works or not.
All right, Harry Smith, thank you so much for your time. We will look forward to your report, Growing Hope, on Sunday on Dateline at 7.